In lieu of all the commander talk that's happened in the recent chapters, I felt like it was appropriate to talk about a commander that I really haven't touched on or mentioned that much at all in the entire time I've been on YouTube. And that's a commander that a lot of people value or view as one of the strongest, if currently not the strongest commander in the story. And that commander, as promised, is Benn Beckman. Now, Benn Beckman, as we know, is the right hand of Shanks. And we find out a bit more about Benn Beckman not only through the Ace novel, but also through Vivre cards and just different dialogue Oda has placed throughout the story to give us an inclination of what to expect from Benn Beckman. Now, personally, I think Benn Beckman is going to be a force to come in the series, and a lot of people expect it, but should we have those lofty expectations for Benny? I think when we view commanders in general, we view them again as the right hands of the Yonko, or the direct subordinates of Yonko, and they're supposed to fulfill or carry out the wills of the Yonko, and they're their most trusted subordinates. But I think based on what we've seen so far, there's a reason why we expect a lot from Benn Beckman. We saw how Marco was in Marineford. Some people argue that Vista and Jozu were just as good as Marco in Marineford, which I think Marco was clearly the superior commander in regards to the Whitebeard pirates. But I think the story is just showing us that this character Marco has a bit more importance than the others, and that's how it's been throughout, right? In regards to the right-hand commanders. For Marco, he's the one carrying on Whitebeard's will and trying to keep Whitebeard's dream intact somewhat. When we move forward to other right hands in regards to Katakuri, obviously he's the direct subordinate of Big Mom. He took charge when Big Mom was going through her entire mental state problem. For the most part, Katakuri was the main antagonist in Whole Cake Island. Katakuri took control. He was the man in charge, and essentially he was almost the captain of the Big Mom pirates, because Big Mom, when she turns into a bumbling idiot and when she has her moments, Katakuri was the one everyone looked to. And we saw in regards to portrayal from Katakuri, not only in regards to intelligence, devil fruit, and overall strength, Katakuri was one of the characters that we fell in love with and is a force to be reckoned with. If we go to Kaido, it's the same thing in regards to King, in which King is the character that he's done some incredible things in regards to kicking the Big Mom pirates off of the waterfall, gathering the Toby rope to find Yamato, taking charge right now, even in the recent chapter, telling everyone what's going on so they can focus in and hone in on the samurai, but more specifically Momonosuke. So the right-hand commander in that situation as well, who we perceive to be King, takes control. If something is going on with the captain, or even if the captain is there, they can always step up and perform in that role. The dynamic of the Blackbeard pirates is an interesting one. We still have to wait and see exactly how that's going. A lot of people, including myself, expect Shiryu to be that guy, not only because of the future fight and it makes sense for Zoro, but also his portrayal beforehand, which I think a lot of people overlook, and Shiryu may be one of the more underrated characters in the story. But today, this isn't about Shiryu. So based on what I said about Marco, Katakuri, and even King, even though we have to see a bit more from him in regards to combative prowess, I mean, obviously he's really strong. I mean, he's from an ancient race. And something that isn't as important, I mean, he has a sword. So for me, I think he's going to be fighting Zoro, and Zoro obviously is the right hand of Luffy. But based on what we said about these characters, obviously based on what they've shown, we're going to expect a lot from Benn Beckman. But what do we know about Benn Beckman? Well, we know Benn Beckman is older than Shanks. Benn Beckman has shown in the Vivre cards and different information Oda's put out, he has a lot of experience in regards to sailing and being a pirate. Yes, sometimes the Benn Beckman hype does seem a bit too much, but I think Benn Beckman deserves it. For instance, that moment at Marineford when Kizaru stopped immediately when he told Kizaru not to move. And Kizaru looked over and, you know, even though it could be viewed as trolling, he recognizes who was pointing a gun at him, and that was Benn Beckman. And I think also for commanders in general, we have a perception of them, and the story even reinforced some of that based on what happened or transpired in One Piece chapter 957, in which the story highlighted bounties of these certain characters in regards to Whitebeard, Roger, Big Mom, Kaido, Blackbeard, and even Shanks. They said great things about all of these emperors, like for Blackbeard, his assault on Impel Down, how many followers he's gained, being the boss of Fullerlet, how his territory expanded because he took over a lot of Whitebeards, for Big Mom being the queen of Tatoland, for Kaido and specifically his individual strength. For Shanks, it was a bit different. It wasn't solely about how great Shanks was. They specifically highlighted the great thing about Shanks' crew, and for all these emperors, they pointed out what made them special. What were the strengths of these Yonko? For Shanks, it wasn't his individual strength. It was the fact that he's the youngest of the four, but he had great trust from his subordinates. They specifically highlighted Benn Beckman, Lucky Roo, and Yasop. And they mentioned that his crew, they're widely renowned, and they also have a high average bounty and the best balance of any pirate crew. What does this tell you? First off, Shanks should have the most balanced pirate crew in the verse. In regards to if you're going up pirate crew versus pirate crew against Shanks, more often than not, his commanders will have the advantage because they're all well-renowned pirates and they're all pretty damn solid. Even if Shanks is weaker than Big Mom and Kaido, I think his crewmates, as shown by what the world government is choosing to highlight, they're more superior or should be superior than everyone else's in regards to the quality of the crew, specifically Benn Beckman, Lucky Roo, and Yasop. Where for instance, if we say Benn Beckman is on the level of Katakuri, King, and Marco, I don't think Lucky Roo and Yasop would be far behind those characters. Where I think Benn Beckman, Lucky Roo, and Yasop, they're around the same level, but on average would be better than every other commander on every other crew. So for instance, the Big Mom Pirates and how the bounty doesn't match up, in which Queen has a higher bounty than Katakuri. Even though we think Katakuri is stronger, that's one way in which Kaido has the advantage because his crew is shown to be a bit more reckless and a bit more outgoing. I think for Shanks's crew, they're gonna have higher bounties than any of them, and they may be a bit stronger. And the person that stands at the top of all that, other than Shanks, is obviously Benn Beckman. So what is it about Benn Beckman? What has Oda said? Well, first off, Benn Beckman had the highest IQ in the East Blue. It's something that we always look at and we always try to judge characters by is intelligence, and Benn Beckman being obviously one of the more intelligent characters that we've come across. Something that was also said is that Benn Beckman and his presence made him feared by the strongest warriors in the New World. That doesn't say exactly how strong someone is, but it gives you an idea of how people view this character. But also, based on this comment I'm about to read, people were scaling Benn Beckman to Yonko caliber, which I think is a bit far-fetched. It depends on how we view this statement. But one thing that was said in the Vivid card is that if Shanks is a sun, Benn Beckman is the moon. And people took that and ran with it and said, well, Benn Beckman is comparable to Shanks, which the Vivid card did confirm. But something we have to point out is that this comparison could be about a bit more than strength, with Shanks being the sun, always cheerful, always wanting to party, and Benn Beckman being the moon with a calm mind and dignity. And if Shanks was ever careless, Benn Beckman would help and deal with the problem. Even in the Ace novel, as some of you would come to read, is Benn Beckman trying to dissect Ace and breaking down Ace based on his actions and what he knows about Ace, which goes back to Benn Beckman just being hella intelligent. Now, going back to the statement about Shanks being the sun and Benn Beckman being the moon, I think it's fair to compare them though based on their dynamic, in which Benn Beckman and Shanks, it seems to mirror what Roger and Rayleigh had and what Luffy and Zoro have now, and to a lesser extent Kid and Killer, right? In which you have the top two people be not that far apart and where they're more of a partner than a subordinate. When we think of the other right-hand men in regards to Marco, Katakuri, and King, they're direct subordinates of their captain, right? In which Marco called Whitebeard Pops. Katakuri is literally the son of Big Mom. And for King, it's obvious Kaido is the top dog based on the structure of the crew in regards to it being a meritocracy. And there hasn't been any inclination that Kaido views King as a partner. We haven't seen that at all. Kaido's at the top and his three subordinates, his three commanders right beneath him. That is the structure that has been portrayed. So saying Benn Beckman is the strongest commander currently in this story, not crazy at all. But what do we expect from him? It's murky territory, just based off of how this story normally plays things out. We speculate that Shanks and Blackbeard will have to meet at some point, and more than likely Benn Beckman will probably be fighting Shiryu. But the thing is with that matchup is that it might be too endgame for Oda to show us too much. So while we may see some things in regards to Benn Beckman versus Shiryu or Shanks versus Blackbeard, we cannot see everything because I think for Oda and how he normally writes the story, it could spoil the final battle between Luffy and Blackbeard, which I think Oda would want to save that. So personally, I don't know how much we can really expect to get from Benn Beckman. We may get some feats and portrayal things in regards to what he's done, but we may not see it. We know about Kid and him losing his arm to the red hair pirates. People speculate that the monkey did it. I don't think the monkey did it. It wouldn't be crazy to me if Benn Beckman did it, right? Because Benn Beckman, he normally takes care of the problems, while Shanks is normally cheerful and just, happy-go-lucky. Now, I'm not going to rule out the fact that Shanks could have done it, but wouldn't be crazy if it was Benny. All in all, I expect Benn Beckman to be very powerful, insanely powerful, but we're not going to see too much. Currently, I think Benn Beckman is indeed the strongest commander in the story and very close to the Yonko and the Admirals. He could probably take one of them out. And honestly, he probably could take an Admiral. That's how much respect I have for Benn Beckman, not the OG3, but the Fujitoras and the Green Bulls. That's where I'm leaning towards Benn Beckman and his overall strength and portrayal. In regards to his character, he's obviously an important piece of Shanks' crew, in which he assumes command a lot because Shanks reminds us of Ace and Luffy, in which he's a very happy-go-lucky guy, and he needs someone like Benn Beckman to reel him in from time to time. Something that you need on a crew. And we've seen that from Katakuri, we've seen that from Rayleigh, Lily, and sometimes even Zoro. Your captain, sometimes when they're unhinged, they need someone to reel them back in. Katakuri doesn't really fit as much because Big Mom, he can't even reel her in because she's out of control, but definitely Rayleigh and Zoro. And we've actually seen that from Killer as well. Killer was one who convinced Kid to join the alliance with Apu and Hawkins. Yeah, it didn't turn out well, but Killer has been shown to be the one to calm Kid down when things are going crazy. When Kid was about to fight Apu when they were trying to make the alliance, he managed to calm everything down. You need the moon if you're gonna be the sun. It's honestly just expected. But guys, give me your thoughts. What do you expect from Benn Beckman? I think he's one of the characters that I really can't wait to see in action. I'm just really excited for the Red Hair Pirates overall, how they interact with the Straw Hats. Are we gonna see a quick, Davy back or a quick spar between them? That would be amazing. But again, guys, give me your thoughts. What do you expect from Benn Beckman? I mean, how strong do you think he is? Make sure to like the video if you did and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, like, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.